Hey guys, welcome back to my chill Snowrunner Let's Play. We are currently on Michigan doing the Island Lake area, and today we're going to be hopefully discovering all the watchtowers and getting the map basically fully scouted. As we've got a nice little Scout 800 as always, and yeah, we're continuing on. This map, I actually do quite enjoy it, because I find it's not too challenging, it's just got a bit of mud, which in itself can be a bit of a challenge, but it's typically not too difficult. Can just be a bit of a slow way through because of all the mud, but Michigan is always a nice place, nothing too difficult, really. And that, my little Jeep is already potentially having some issues. We're just not going to the watchtowers. That's going to be our first goal, and accept any of the tasks that we go by. I think there's a crazy amount on this map, because this place is very just out in the middle of nowhere. I don't think there's any real bosses or anything, so there shouldn't be that many people needing help with anything, because there is no people around here. Downside is there's also no fuel or anything, so I should have really gone on the other road. So we might better slip through that. Hopefully we can get up here. I'm not going to force it though. There is a gap. Come on, you can squeeze through. Wonderful. First watchtower has been found. You know what? That's a good way to start. Yeah, we've also got the pay star still, just in case something does go wrong. Okay. I'm going to double check these roads because they're not actually in the reveal area. There might be stuff like there's a trailer there that we'll only find by going there. That's actually good to know. I guess we'll follow along here. Guess that won't get us at some point. Okay. We'll just go down one side of the map. We'll also go down here as well just to get this area explored, because there could be a task or something down there. We want to go back through here then, don't we? Just a nice little 3-point turn. Go back the way we came. Chickle's got a decent amount of fuel, and there's fuel traders around the map. There's just no way to actually buy a fuel in this area. You have to basically use it a little bit more sparingly. Right, we'll have time turning here. There we go. Yeah, back on some more stable ground, we'll say. I don't even think there's a road on this map, actually. It's like a dirt road, but not like an actual road. Like, this is where the road is thing we're going to see. I mean, it's literally a swamp. Have to be careful of bouncing off rocks and tipping. So the only real danger is like going on these like flat sort of paths is you can clip a rock and maybe tip or do damage. Other than this area is pretty much as chill as you could have. Don't really remember when I on my first ever playthrough of this, I don't remember there being much issue on this map. Other than the fact there's no garage on it and no fuel, so getting to the map is more of the issue than actually being here. I need to change the colour of this Scout 800 as well, because I'm not sure I'm a fan of the green. Do that when we next go to a garage, because it's been a while. This vehicle's been right trooper just going everywhere, so probably get rewarded with some nice upgrades and maybe a colour. Well, probably colour. Give it something. there's a road we want to go down. I think has just kind of been the vehicle we've been using. Been doing a great job as well. Also, the time they actually done the buff for this vehicle could not have been better. Because I had it unlocked, and then a few days later they buffed it. And that actually made it so much more usable. Which I'm very glad about, otherwise I would have probably had to use the Chevy. Which isn't bad, but it doesn't have diffs always on. Whereas this thing does, and it makes it so much better. Now, I might take this fuel trailer to a road, I don't think it's for a mission. I haven't really pulled much with this vehicle, so I'm not sure how it's going to manage. Even though it's fairly capable, it's still not a heavy vehicle. Even for a scout, it's probably one of the lighter ones. These trailers aren't... But we can at least take it to the road. Just then it's actually in a more useful place. And we might actually put it... To be fair, here it's probably not a bad spot because it's by a crossroads section, so... I'm going to struggle carrying it as well, so we'll just leave it there. I mean, we've got plenty of fuel on us, but we'll top ourselves up. Right, we need to go to the watchtower. I'm thinking it might be up that path. Would make sense for it to be. I reckon it is going to be, so we're going to take it up here. Not turn it too tightly because we could tip. I'll try not down the side of the mountain because that would not be ideal. Oh, that's a tight turn I was not ready for. Come on, find the gap. There we are. So once you find the gap, you do alright. Discovered. It's just a forest or a swamp is all this place is. Signal in a mountain we can go to, and it's an upgrade. Ooh, and a field trailer, okay. The upgrade will go to... I don't know how many more upgrades we've got left. There's still like 4 or 5 on this map, I believe. So that should actually be... I don't know what the upgrade could be. Hopefully something useful. The more upgrades we get, the better, really. Ooh, road gone. That's there. That's fun. That was actually quite sticky. Up the hill we go. Slap it high and hope for the best. Kill. That is a really steep hill. Okay, that's a tree. Come on. I think we need to struggle with going forward sometimes. Oh, that is... As upgrade goes? Perfect. Right, that is pretty much exactly what we need. Now we might go... I want to go get that mission, so we might go back the way we came. I'm gonna grab that mission. Because, how would I say, it makes life a little bit more easier later. And getting turned is always difficult. This is only a small thing as well. Enough turn for that? Yeah, just about. Just try and slide down there, but that's probably not gonna go well. As I would expect anyway. Just sliver our way down here. That's a little bit quick. Okay. Don't want to go zooming down here. Come on, get some power. There's metal beams in there. They're going to be used for something most likely. Explore the broken antenna. Okay. We can now... I guess we'll go to the middle one. There's a vehicle there as well. Oh. Oh, is it high? That's one more going. Yeah, this region is actually pretty flat. Like, it's got a few hills at the edge, but the main bit's just in a swamp, so... it's actually going to be too bad. It's going to be muddy, though. I mean... as a vehicle goes, this thing's not awful. It's got diffs and it's got off-road tyres. If it wasn't a scout, it would be perfect, but... still, we can kind of crawl our way along. But I do think we want to actually keep off the path and stay on the grass. Because the grass can be a bit more solid. So no, there's bits which aren't that solid. Because yeah, this entire place is just a flooded area. So it's not going to be ideal to go too fast through most of this place. Okay, the mission's there, that's fine. I thought the mission might have been in with the car. I'm not going to bother attempting to rescue that. I probably could, but I don't think it's worth it for now. So I mean, I might as well just continue going. We can bring something else that'll be a bit more likely. That bit's going to be soft. And the vehicle's doing the job. And these sort of roads are kind of where this vehicle feels really nice on. Doesn't get bogged down enough to stop, but it also doesn't. It's also can manage it quite well. Kind of like shallow mud is kind of the ideal off-roading anyway. If it gets too deep, this thing will just get some sunk in it, but it's all terrain that it can manage quite happily. Just where the other scout we got, the Chevy Scout, would probably struggle a bit more because that thing doesn't have diffs always on, so I'd have to go in low Well, I think just low standard, which wouldn't be knowing it was quick. But we haven't actually used that much since that also had the same buff as this, so should be something I should try at some point. But now this thing's working treat. Tower. There's another upgrade point, and corporate expansion we need to go and grab, and flaming barrels. Okay. The upgrade point is just in the middle of nowhere essentially, so that's doable, then we can go back to there. There's one full antenna we need to go grab as well. Okay, there's quite a few things we need to be grabbing. But for now, upgrade probably priority on our list, I'll be honest. Because we haven't got the upgrade for the White Western Star, which will make that into a beast. I'm really happy with that. I don't remember what upgrades we need at the moment. There's quite a few in Alaska which are good, but I thought this was going to be a lot more denser trees, but they're quite thin. Ooh, that sand, that's in some mud. That is potentially very soft. Now for the fort, that's not too exciting. Can we crawl through this? This is like as deep as mud as I would feel happy going in with this thing. And that though, we're not doing that bad at all. Still is a bit unstable, but it's so much better than what it used to be. Dodgy. Come round the tree. There we go. Definitely not the most ideal way, but road, perfect. Accept you. That's hopefully going to be for the bridge. Let me double check. Yep, cool. Pressing every wrong button today. Right, so we still got that over there, which we might go. I don't think I can go that way, can I? Maybe. Do you think our best bet would be to go back along here? That's not. Took us. How much money did you get for the ground for a 10-minute time? Okay. Go up here, we'll go do this. It might not be the most efficient way to do it, but get that. And we can grab that some point. We'll grab that on the way back up, probably. Okay. Then we'll go grab that. That's the plan that I'm liking right now. That's kind of what matters. I mean, it'll all get done eventually. Just might not be the most efficient way. Then again, I don't really ever try and speedrun this game. I feel like the second you start speedrunning this game, it probably gets even more irritating, and many more things can go wrong. Which to me does not equal fun. I much more prefer to take my own pace and kind of just do things as they get done. This is kind of my mindset for most games I play. I want to finish the game within 2 days of starting playing it, like. Because that's one thing I always find kind of weird about people who play, especially like story, these single players type of games which have like nice stories and stuff. Is the game comes out, they complete it in like 3 days, then complain they're bored, and I'm like, you know, like some games, like especially games that have a good story to them, you kind of need to let it sit a bit at times. Like if you're just playing it, like if you play like 8 hours every day for like 3-4 days, you can probably complete it very quickly. But you don't let it fester or sit in your like mind for a while. So I kind of prefer to play a game. Yeah, you might do like 3 hours on a day, but then you let it sit for a bit, and then you come back to another 3 hours or so. Well, typically I like to play games like more increments these days, just because I've got other things I'd rather do at the same time. So like, say as we just sitting down playing a game, I kind of spread it out, which I find is much more rewarding than when you actually finish a game as well. I do like to stay on my time of games. Really, I'm really not the type of person to like finish the game within a week. I don't think there's been any game I've finished within a week. I think there's only one game I've finished any sort of like speediness. Oh, that's just okay. That's fine, I guess. Yeah. Only been like one game I finished at a rapid pace, which is a game called Enter Night. Enter Night, I think. It was like an indie game that arguably one of the most well put together games I've played in a long time. And the game's only like 13 hours, hence why it's an indie game. And I think it's made by 3 people who've done most, well, in the credits it was their 3 names just repeated. So like they done it all as essentially as indie as you can get. But the game was of really good quality, and the 13 hours I did play it, they were good 13 hours, like. So it's in the game, and I finished it in one night because it was that good. Like I started playing, thought, oh, I'll play a couple of hours before I go to bed or whatever. The game hooked me so well, I played it in one go. It was honestly top tier. So I was really happy with it. And I do believe they are making a sequel to it, because the game done really well sales-wise as well, so I've actually now got funding. So hopefully, if they make a game with a bit more stuff in it, it'll be really good. Because I thoroughly enjoyed it. And it was also a game that I kind of heard people say it was decent. I don't typically always go 100% by what people say is good. Because it's a lot of games, some people can say like, oh, it's amazing, it's great. I find it's not to my tastes. So, there's some games that people say are rubbish, it's a waste of time. They're the games that I've typically enjoyed. Because they just don't typically align to what the masses like too much. If it's a game that's a bit more niche, I'll probably like it compared to a game that's made for like everyone. Which was also my same thinking for with the Claire Obscure Expedition 33 game. Everyone was hyping it up, and I was like, okay, looks interesting. We'll have a look. Yeah, everyone was hyping it up. I was expecting it to be nowhere near as good as what it actually was. But that game it's justified why it's so good. Like, I'll be most shocked if it doesn't win the Game of the Year because from my from my understanding of what makes a game good, that one does tick the box. So I can't really have no issue with it really. Like, so they did kind of semi-reinvent turn-based fighting as well, which I love turn-based is my favourite fighting thing, which again is why I'm not really in alignment with what makes games popular for most people. It's because most people don't like turn-based these days. But I grew up playing turn-based on like every RPG you could think of used to be turn-based. And then when games started moving away from it, I'm not the biggest fan. I can still play them, but I don't enjoy them nearly as much as turn-based. With the Cloud Obscure game, that game actually you changed how turn-based worked, in a sense, but still kept the core of what made turn-based good. So I did actually kind of enjoy it. Made it challenging, but also made it rewarding when you've done it, but you could also ignore it completely if you wanted to and just do the normal turn-based. Kind of left a lot up to your choice. Which I did actually kind of like. Right, let's go grab this upgrade, because there's another one. Oh yeah, we've gone back around, okay. We just got to drive way back, okay, but yeah. So, that game did do a lot for me. Potential spoiler. I've already finished the game as well, just I'm uploading it once a week, so. But the game was kind of good, so I played it. Actually, not one go, but over a few months, and I was thoroughly impressed by it all. Without saying any spoilers, because it's kind of unplayed this video, but it's a bit of a ramble going on. The ending of that is also top tier, like, which for me is really what can make or break a game. There's not too much worse than you spending like 30 to 100 hours or so for just the average RPG. And in all that time on a game, getting to know the characters and the story and the world and everything, and the ending leaving like a bitter taste in your mouth. Ways to mention that's useful. I feel like the ending to a game is the thing you're going to remember probably for the longest time. If it's a bad ending, it ain't going to feel very nice. But yeah, the ending, I was very happy with. I mean, the whole game was just top tier, to be fair. I'll be interested to see if it does actually win Game of the Year, because if it doesn't, I will kind of be surprised. And if it doesn't win Game of the Year, at least win the best soundtrack and music and all that sound design and stuff, because I have not heard much that has competed with it. So, from my own personal preference, it's top tier. Should win the majority of most of the categories, to be fair. Because I really enjoyed it. There's not really an element to the game I didn't enjoy. So, yeah, kind of hard to top that. I'm hoping is more companies will see that when a game actually is kind of a unique game, that it does well, more companies will start doing that. I do feel like the way the gaming industry's kind of gone, there's a bit too much. It's a weird thing because games are made for the sole purpose of making money, which I fully understand. But I do feel like that's limiting the creativeness of games. Because a lot of games kind of have their... They know what works and they stick to it. They might change bits and pieces here and there, but they're not willing to like do a leap. Which I get why, because if your business is running off that game's success, you're going to go for what's safe rather than what might do better but it's higher risk. But I feel like that is part of the issue with a lot of the gaming industry stuff. Which I think that's also why you're seeing a lot of indie type of games or like smaller companies come along, release a masterpiece because they just tried something different. Because they didn't have much risk as such. Like, so yeah, and I think also if you add on the fact that you've got all the like AAA games, or like companies like EA, Ubisoft, and all them, basically releasing the same type of game every year, like a similar version, just slightly different, and it still does quite well for them. So why would they change that? I mean, Ubisoft especially, I've seen them. They're not really improving their games too much from my understanding. Obviously I haven't played a hell of a lot of their games. They're not really, like, I don't know the last time they've done something I'm like, wow. If anything, their game comes out, that's probably decent sales of the initial bit, then it seems to just disappear slowly and I'm like, okay. Which isn't unheard of like single player games, but Ubisoft, you would have thought they could be doing so. And it isn't to say the games over, it's not like rubbish, it's just, for me personally, I find them a little bit, I don't know how to say it, but like, they're just a little bit, I don't want to say soulless, but they don't really have much like personality in them. I'm not sure if that's the correct way to say it, but like, they're missing a little soul or something like that. Which I find in indie games, an indie game can technically be worse than that, but they have the soul, which then, or like a unique charm to them, which makes you kind of fall in love with the game. Whereas Ubisoft's games lack that charm, in my personal opinion, so I don't really have no draw to play their games either. Even the Assassin's Creed, I can't remember the name of it, but their most recent one that came out, I looked at it and I thought, the concept looked cool. There was nothing else dragging me in, so their base idea is often quite good and interesting. It's like the mechanics and just the look of it doesn't ever drag me in. Which could be they're not doing it to my personal taste, or could be other reasons, I don't know. But, and they have also been one of the companies that have had some interesting takes in the past as well. So who knows what their actual like goal is. Either way though, I think as long as games are still getting made, people do fine. I mean, you had the Baldur's Gate game, was that last year Game of the Year? I think it was, it might have been the year before that, but that game was another game that wasn't a AAA, I think it was like a AA, I guess you would call it, like studios and like 40-50 people, not an enormous company. And that game kind of broke a lot of things, because it actually had a lot of care, a lot of detail, a lot of soul in the game, and even though it's on my list to play, I've played it for like 20 hours, but I haven't finished it. But that game, I really enjoyed the amount I did play. But also I saw other people play and all that, so I'm like, I know the game's good, it's just on my backlog worth game I need to play at some point. The only wish I had for it was well too open for me. And I spent a lot of my time hesitating on what I should do or how I should approach a thing. Because, again, where I'm probably not in the majority of people who play games, is I don't mind a game if it's a straight, like, go here, do this, go here, do that. I don't have too much issue with that, but I know a lot of people like open world freedom and all that good stuff, which I fully get why. Just for me, I have to, if you give me too many choices, I will overthink all the choices, and then I don't really spend much time playing the game. I'm too busy like trying to research online what the best option is or how to approach a certain thing a certain way, or just thinking more too much. So if you don't give me them options in the first place, I will play the game happily. And the other issue is typically I like to play a game without any outside information. So like, I don't like to use walkthroughs, guides, or even know plot points or story information or any of that stuff. Then when you give me all these options of outcomes, I don't know what's going to happen. And it's hard for me to make a choice without knowing the outcome. So then I stress over it a bit too much. Which is all entirely a me issue. So I never say a game's bad because of that. Because I know that's a fully a me thing, not a game thing. Which is why Baldur's Gate, even though I didn't finish it, it's still a solid game. And it's something I probably will play in the future, but I was kind of waiting for their crossplay to come out because I had friends on Xbox who I was going to play with. Because that way it would solve my faffing around because they can do the story how they want and I can basically just experience it through them. Have I been done? This might be another thing. Okay. Either way. Go back this one. Has that been done as I feel like that's a contract mission, most likely. But never mind. Because there's nothing here to accept. I don't know what that symbol means. It's actually a task or mission, but I don't know. So, I feel like the way the gaming industry is going is you're going to have AAA companies still releasing the same sort of games year in, year out. I feel like there's a gap in the market for a lot of indie games to come up and do well. Because you also had the Silk Song on a Night game come out, and that, I believe, crashed multiple websites. I think Xbox had an issue and so did Steam, I think. Could be mistaken, but I remember seeing something on Instagram about it, so I'm not sure how trustworthy that is, but either way, the game is an indie game, sold really well. I think it's also a contender for Game of the Year as well, which I don't know. I'll be honest, I know very little about it. I just know it's an indie game that done really well. And it's got a lot of people's praises, so I'm like, fair play. But I've not personally played it, nor have I seen people play it. I just know people have played it and they like it, and it's an indie game, so I'm not going to be too judgmental on an indie game because you're doing something that a lot of people don't do, so fair play. But yeah, and I mean, an indie game, they're also typically cheaper as well. So they're cheaper, and sometimes you get a gem of a game out of it, so. Whereas I feel like a game with AAA games, the price represents it's a AAA game. The quality of the game does not match the price, and I'm just like, okay. Not typically what I'm into. Because like with the Cloud Obscure Expedition 33 game, that I believe was only £45, I think. Maybe even 40, I can't actually remember. But I would have happily paid £100 for that quality of game. So like, it just kind of goes to show that the price of a game doesn't really reflect the quality of it, and nor does it being a AAA company also has no reflection on if the quality is going to be up there either. The only difference I'd say you get is the scale of the game. Again, a lot of AAA games, their scale is quite big, but it's also quite empty. Which I think is why, like, a game like Skyrim, which I played an awful lot on this channel, the open world doesn't feel empty, but it's also quite big. And I feel like a lot of games try and emulate that type of world, but somehow they just don't make it feel alive or filled with stuff. So then you end up just kind of teleporting around the place because there's no reason to run down this path that goes on for quite a long time because there's just nothing. So I feel like there's a lot of improvements for games at the moment. And the other thing, which I'm not sure if this is an uncommon opinion, I feel like a lot of game companies are focused too much on graphics and not art style. Because the amount of games that come out and you need like a supercomputer for them. Well, not a supercomputer, but you need like a lot better computer than the average person has. And I'm like, back in the day, graphics weren't so much as an option to improve, so they always made the art style look a lot more appealing or fit the game a lot better. And then that typically made games look better. Because I mean, a lot of the games I play, even on this channel, they're not intense graphic wise because my PC would really struggle to run them. Because it seems like the Oblivion remake, that I would have probably enjoyed a lot more if my PC could run it at any sort of consistent frame rate. Because the reason why I haven't played it much on this channel, it was stuttering really bad, and I tried multiple fixes, searched online how to fix it, but my computer can run it, just not at any sort of. You have to put all the graphics on like the bare minimum. It just won't really. I'm out of fuel. Or it just won't really run that well. That's not what I want. So like, for me, I'm like, if they had just. Obviously, it's a remake of the game, but the old one, I could probably play that fun, but I felt like they went a little bit too over the top. Or it's just where games aren't optimised well either, which also grinds my gears. I'm like, why spend that long making a game, then not make it optimised for everyone to play it? Especially since the more people who can play your game, the more people are going to buy your game, therefore the more money they would make. So surely you spend a bit more time optimising it to benefit the company in the long run. So like, why would you not do that? I'm going to get out of this. Come on, there you go. Yeah. Then the other thing that's probably quite a big topic at the moment is GTA 6, which was meant to come out in May this year, got delayed, which, I mean, I'm not unhappy, well, mixed feelings. I'm not super unhappy about it. I'm also not happy about it, because if I have the option to play it, I want it. However, I also don't want them to release it and it be buggy and unfinished, because that to me is kind of a more annoying thing. The fact they've delayed it is good because of that reason, because it means I probably want it somewhat finished. But the fear I have is that it's going to come out a year or two later. Like, I don't think it's going to come out in 2026 either. I'll be quite surprised if they keep it without getting pushed back again. But then if it does come out in 2026, I've also got a feeling it's going to be buggy still and probably have unfinished bits. And on top of that, the hype around the game might be the thing that causes it to have issues, because even if it comes out and is a very good game, people still aren't going to be happy because it's not going to match their expectations, which have been brewing for over, like, I want to say 12 years off the top of my head, I'm not sure exactly. I think GTA 5 came out like 2013, 2012 maybe. So yeah, probably about 12 years. Which is a stupid long time for a game to not have a sequel with or anything, especially a game like GTA. So, which I think is kind of mental, but again, they did do a lot of work with GTA 5. But did they need to do more with it? Probably not. They could have just made it up one. But then again, I mean, the only thing I can say is I know the story mode for the game, or the campaign, or whatever you want to call it, is probably going to be top tier. I'm not too concerned about that. So, at the bare minimum, that much I've got faith in. I mean, the Red Dead Redemption 2 story is top tier as well. So yeah. I'm also going slightly back to the graphics. Red Dead Redemption 2, that game's graphics and everything is lovely to look at. It's not intensive to run on my PC at all. So again, it goes to show if you optimise a game and make the art style work well, you don't need to worry about too much else. Which once again, I feel like that's the main issue with a lot of game companies. Like the game Dragon Dogma 2, that game, I would love to play it because I've got the first one to play as well, so I'd love to get the first and second one played. But the thing put me off that is the fact that I know that my PC cannot, it could potentially run it, but you'll maybe get 30 frames a second if lucky. I need to actually check if they've optimised it since launch, but I know it's quite a heavy game to run. So that is kind of a thing that's putting me off from getting it. And like on Steam, I believe it was on sale for like, I want to say £30, could be less than that. And I was still hesitant and ended up not getting it because I was like, well, I'm going to be able to run it. Probably not very well, so I'm not going to bother with it. Essentially. Which, again, kind of a shame because if it was able to run on most people's PC, even like a mid-spec PC, which is kind of what I've got, then I would have bought it, and I probably would have potentially played it soon. Like, so purely on the fact they went too much for graphics and didn't optimise it well, they've missed out on probably quite a few potential buys, which I was saying that I'm going to assume isn't the most difficult thing in the world. Then again, speaking from an outside point of view, could also be incredibly time consuming. I'm not too sure. Something that you could have probably avoided, or at least put a bit of something into. Again, unless you're probably in with the company, they could have issues you've got no idea about, so I won't be too hard to it, but it is a shame. Because I think one of the great things with a lot of games is that they're accessible. Especially since the main people who play games the most are typically people who don't have a lot of money. It's like teenagers and kids typically play games the most. But if you go for like hours per day played, they're probably racking up the most hours. And then you've got some people in their early 20s, like late 30s, who probably play quite a bit, and then the older people who probably more than they've ever been, but not as much. This little vehicle here. Oh, White Western Star, Twin Steer. Now that vehicle is a really interesting one. We don't have it yet. And what do you need actually? We might better do you. Some fuel. We might actually. I'll be honest, I took the fuel trailer. I forgot this vehicle was here. So it might look intentional, it wasn't. Right, we can hopefully. I don't want to use all my repair points. We don't really have a choice. And luckily, repair points they do 2 times the amount, so I can actually repair this full thing. And then for fuel, just fill you back up. Jeez, there we go. So now we have this bad boy, which I'll be honest, it won't be used that much until the Kola Peninsula, which is the first season, technically. Because that's when it gets its all-wheel drive, which turns this thing into a beast. It's a slightly tricky beast, but a beast. But it also can have 4 slots on the back of it, which is amazing. But for now, you should be our backup truck if need be. Let's get to this watchtower. But it's like, the gaming industry, it's got a lot of potential. What am I... Okay, we're going to detach you because you seem to be heavy. I cannot see what... Am I stuck on a log or something? I don't know what I'm stuck on. Yeah, so like... The gaming industry, it could be going very good, it could be going very bad. But at this point, yes, I think there's still going to be enough games that are good each year to make up for the kind of generic ones that do come out. Only concern I have got, which I'm not liking the look, is how the games seem to be getting more and more expensive. Which I know with inflation and all that, you expect it, fair enough. But with GTA 6 coming out, they could make that game like it's incredibly not overpriced, but over the current games, flat price of games. And my concern with that is because it's a game that if it was like, say, £120 or 130 or whatever, or they done, I think they mentioned about doing some monthly subscription for it or something, it would still do well because the game is just that big and has that much hype behind it. But the thing I don't want is for other companies, games like, well, companies like Ubisoft, EA, all the kind of AAA games that like the hike up prices games, is following suit, and I can still do them. I can kind of see it doing well, which will then set the whole gaming ecosystem as such into a bit of a bad place. Which I don't really. There's an upgrade over there when you go grab that. Which I don't really want to see too much because, I mean, as I was mentioning literally like 5 minutes ago, the whole good thing about games is that they're accessible. So if you make them less accessible, you run into issues. For me personally, and also like the main people playing games are typically younger people who might not have a lot of money to spend on games, but also have a lot of time to spend playing games, i.e. they're going to be the fan or not your target audience of who you want your games to be for. And if you're making each game like 120 quid or whatever, or even more than that, it's going to heavily impact who can play it. Am I able to get through it? Might be an upgrade for another day because this area looks a bit too soggy for this vehicle. So yeah, so I'm hoping, but it's also not saying I want games to get cheaper. I just think games should be, you should kind of get what you pay for, which is the kind of thing for everything, but the thing is saying we should probably keep an eye on. At the end of the day, gaming should be a hobby that isn't, and it isn't, it can be an expensive hobby. It shouldn't be, you should have options still, which, I mean, if indie games are still up and coming with great stuff, that shouldn't be too much of an issue, because, I mean, a lot of the time indie games are doing quite well at the moment. That's always a bonus. But it's just the AAA games that are kind of the concern. And I mean, the multiplayer games as well. It could just be I'm getting old, which, well, old, like 24, but like, I haven't found a multiplayer game that I've thoroughly enjoyed in quite a long time. And the worst thing is, I do try a lot of them, buy a lot of them. I'm still yet to find one I've actually like solely enjoyed. I mean, I think the last game I properly enjoyed was Paladins, which is from like 2016 all the way up to 2021, I want to say. That game is my most played game that's had a recorded time on it, and I did, despite all the issues and everything it had with it. But for those that don't know what Paladins is, it's basically a hero shooter like Overwatch, but in my opinion it was better but had more bugs and issues. So you can't take that as you will. But and even like after that started going to the point where all the bugs were pretty much an issue, I then switched to playing Overwatch. Especially Overwatch 2 when that came out, because I was like, Overwatch 2 new game is free, why not? Played it. I mean, I've got like 900 hours on the game. I still play it every now and again. I don't like thrive on it. Still play it quite a lot, but like, it's more when my mates are on, we play that. Yeah, there's not a whole lot. I mean, Rocket League again, play that casually every now and again, but only because there's not much else multiplayer wise. Like, I mean, the main issue I had was the battle rails, like Fortnite, the finals, rail games were very trendy. I do not care for battle rail games at all. Like even on like COD, Search and Destroy, not a fan of it. Which I know very much in the opposite to what a lot of people like. 'Cause loads of people love. They love the one life type of game modes. I don't care for them. So like, so it didn't really do much for me. And then when Fortnite had done very well, even that I played quite a lot. I only played it because my mates played it. And at the time I was like, eh. But the weird thing with that game is I actually really enjoyed the mechanics of it. Like the shooting, the building, loved it. Well, I just hated the fact it was a battle royale at the core of it. Like. So, yeah, that one was a weird, because when I played it I enjoyed it, but I just hated the mode of it. So, there were a few issues with that. I haven't really found a game I've clicked with that was multiplayer. I mean, this game, Snowrunner, is probably up as one of the best multiplayer games I play. I typically play with many people. I've got a friend I play it with. That's it though. We play every now and again. So that's the only thing. Did that just say the yards are available for purchase? Oh, is the yard? Did I level up? I did. Okay, the yards are level up vehicle then. Are they sure the vehicles you've discovered? Oh, that's cool. Or just where they are, I guess. Oh, all the vehicles I have. I did not know that. Okay. We've got... I've been waffling quite a bit. While we're just scouting, we might as well. We've got tough negotiations, bridge the gap. We need to go grab. I think we'll get you. And then we can go and grab this watchtower, which is the last one. Now, if memory serves me, there's a potential there might be a bridge here. One of the inputs there might be, so. Yeah. I feel like I ramble every now and again. It's actually good. And also, a lot of people seem to like a ramble anyway. But this one wasn't planned at all. Last time I had a ramble, I typically plan it. I've just been thinking about games lately, and that's kind of where my brain has gone. Let's quickly accept this. Oh, sorry. Perfect. Yeah. Do you think it'll be interesting to see what gaming is in like 10 years or 5 years? It's gonna see how stuff's turned out. Because I also feel like a lot of games have... Because like for instance, the difference between the PS2 and the PS3 was quite a big jump. And the same with the 3 and PS4, there was quite a big jump there. Then PS4 to PS5, other than loading times from the SSD, it's not really been that much of a jump. Like graphics, sure, games can run a little bit better. No, not as big as PS3 to PS4, PS2 to PS3, so like say when the PS6 comes out, that also won't have as big as a jump. So I don't know what they could do for it, so I feel like the graphical / performance side of things, there's not much more they can do, especially keeping the price reasonable. But again, the whole point of consoles is again to be affordable and so that most people can use them. Whereas PCs, that's when you then come into the more okay, that's deep. PCs are where it becomes a bit more expensive, which is why people in their 20s to 30s typically are the PC people. You don't really see like a young kid playing on their own PC that they have with their own money, do you? So like, I mean, even my PC, I didn't spend a stupid amount, but I still spent like £2 on it. So like, that's definitely not a cheap thing by any means, but it's also not. I mean, somebody could need to spend £5-6 on it. So like, we're not But we can't go this way. We need to go. She ran the long way. Which, hindsight, I would have gone to begin with. I mean, we can just whiz down here. The legacy, we got that. Good. So yeah, it's kind of interesting though. So the other interesting thing is that there is a Steam console coming out at some point. Not sure if console's the right term. It's the Steam, I think it's called the Steam Machine or something. Basically, to my understanding, it's like the Steam Deck. A console. It's like a console PC hybrid apparently. Which I'm kind of interested in, not so much for me buying, but for one of my friends who only play games on console, because they're not into say the techie / nerdy things of PCs, like building your PC, setting up PCs, all that kind of stuff. But there's also a lot of games on to play, but they can't because they don't have a PC. But if you've got a Steam Machine console thing, that basically makes PC gaming again more accessible. To me, is only going to be a good thing. But I think the thing that makes or break it will be the price, because I think I saw the stats for it and it's pretty solid for what it is. Whether they're confirmed or not, I'm not quite sure. The price for what you get, interesting, because the stuff in it would probably equate it to be about $3,000 in PC. Like if it was a PC of that same specs, I would assume it'd be about $3,000-ish, because it was a little bit better than my PC. Something like that. But on the flip side, if they make it probably over $1,000, it won't really be in the same console market. Because consoles, I don't think they should be over 500 quid typically. Because again, they're made for casual gamers, and I don't think there's many casual people, or people who play games in a casual manner, would be willing to spend over $1,000 on something. So I think it's going to be a very, and also then the people who are going to spend over that, there's not many people who wouldn't. It's not going to be many people's budget, because the people who it's too expensive for will just stay with console. People who it's affordable, they might as well just buy a PC of their own that is really more powerful and better. So I think it's going to be a very select amount of people who buy it if it's too expensive. However, if they do it cheaper, like, let's say if they done it for, say, 600 quid, I would consider buying one, just as it's 600 quid and it's another PC type of thing. So, and all the people who have consoles, they would also consider buying it, because 600 quid isn't an outrageous price compared to the PS5. So like, why would you not? If you buy a PS5, you'd happily buy that, and a lot of people bought PS5 and Xbox, whatever the new Xbox is called, I actually don't remember. But like, I feel like the pricing of it will essentially make or break it. But even the Steam Deck, I don't know how much it is, but I want to say it's about 400 or 500. And guaranteed that's been the reason why someone hasn't bought it. I mean, the reason why I didn't buy a Steam Deck was mainly because handheld devices, I never found a comfy way to use them. I mean, like, when you're playing with a second, it's always why I like playing with a controller more than mouse and keyboard, is controller, you can sit in a very comfy manner. And you can always move, you can adjust, you can do a lot. Whereas with mouse and keyboard, you can't really do that as well. Not, and still play as good as what you have been anyway, I would say. Whereas, again, with handheld devices, I find I'm always getting, like, I've never found a way to have my neck supported, my arm supported, and me be able to see the screen comfortably. I've never found that solution. Even like Game Boy Advance I used to have back in the day, a DS, same issue. all the PSPs, PSP, Vita, all that stuff. Never once have I found a position that was comfy for at least like anything over half an hour. So like, that's my main gripe with it, you could say. I think until I find a position that's comfy, I'm never going to be willing to like a lot of money on something that I'm not going to be comfy playing. Especially since I always want to play games is to be comfy and enjoy my time. It's not the most logical thing for me. Right, that is... It's one more bridge, okay. I'm going to quickly grab that. I might have missed a couple tasks, but that'll be an issue for later me. Yeah, like... So yeah, the price of it, I do think will be the biggest factor about whether if I buy it, because I'm not going to spend over £1,000 or so. I've technically already got access to. Same reason why I wouldn't buy the. I'm not sure if you've seen that, but the PS5 Pro or whatever it's called, like the advanced PS5, because I don't see the value in it. Because I've already got access to everything I've already got. It's just it might run games like 2 frames better or whatever, which my only sort of issue I have with performance of games is as long as it's consistent and ideally over 30 frames. I'm not like one of these people who need a game to run at like 120 frames all the time, because this game I've got it running at 60. You don't really need more than that typically. And also I find I've heard a lot of people say that they have their monitors and most games run at like 120 to 100, 200 or whatever frames. And then when a game can't get up to that, they struggle a lot. Which a lot of people probably think they're being dramatic. I don't disbelieve the fact that if you're used to a certain frame rate, going below that would probably feel awful. So, I don't have too much issue, because the only game I play at any sort of high frame rate is Rocket League, because in that game frames are very useful. I do notice the difference when I then go to another game. Like if I go from playing Rocket League on PC, I get 100, well, I've run it like 200, 300 frames, but my monitor's only 144 Hz, I think that's the only frames I actually see as such. But the game feels very smooth. But then when I go, there was a time I played on PS5, and it felt sluggish. I don't know what frames it runs on PS5, but I would assume 60, maybe. But it did not feel... There felt a lot of like delay. Without there being delay, could be a hardware issue, I'm not too sure. But either way, it didn't feel nowhere near as great, so now I only play it on PC. But because that game has a crossplay on it, it's not really an issue. Also got cross progression as well, so again, no issue with that. But yeah, it's definitely it's a believable thing for me. So I'm like, if people say they have issue with running games at high frames, I don't really want to run games at high frames, because I still play console games and old-fashioned games that don't have the luxury of high graphics and high frames and stuff. So yeah. I do think we should probably end the ramble there, because this video's been a lot longer than I anticipated, and the ramble was good, I'll say. See, I think we got most of the tasks. There's probably 1 or 2 here or there we didn't get. But as I said earlier, that's an issue for later me to deal with, so we can deal with that. I hope you've all enjoyed this Snowrunner video / ramble, because I mean, a ramble here and there is good for you. But I hope you've all enjoyed. If you have, hit the like button, subscribe, it really helps out the channel, and I shall see you all in the next one. Peace.